My name is Stanley Jamel Bellamy. I went to prison in 1985 at the age of 23. I was sentenced to 62 and a half years to life in 1987, and I served 37 and a half years of that sentence and came home on April 24th, 2023, based on clemency from the governor and the parole board granted me release. I was born in the Bronx, but I grew up in Corona, Queens. And I came from a two-parent household where my moms and my pops taught me value system. But again, at the age of 9, I committed my first crime after one of my classmates, when I was in 4th grade, was killed by police officers. Prior to that, I had wanted to be a police officer. But once that incident happened, it changed me. And in 1971, people didn't understand how it would be traumatic for students, classmates, when one of their classmates was killed. Back then, they told us just to handle it. Today, you have grief counselors, psychologists, everything come to the school and deal with the students. But you didn't have that back then. And so the way I had it, I handled it. I went to the streets. Because when I went to prison, I had two young sons. One was 16 months and the other one was 3. And so by 1889, I learned that their mother was addicted to crack cocaine. And now, for me, that was it was a turning point, because I realized my kids no longer had any parents out there now. You know, I thought prior to that, I thought, okay, I can do 62 and a half years of life standing on my head because they had their mother there to take care of them. But now their mother wasn't there. So that really changed me. It made me understand I need to get myself together so I can be a parent from prison. And that was really what helped me transform the beginning step. The second main step that helped me move from that criminal mindset into becoming the man I am today is that in 1991, my father passed away. And prior to that, you know, I had no emotions. I lost so many friends. I never cried at none of their funerals because I hardened myself to it, and I suppressed it. And when my father, you know, passed away in 1991, after me being off the streets for 6 years, I felt that pain for the first time. I understood that pain. And then there's a third thing that happened. I was able for the first time during my incarceration to read what we call the pre-sentence report. And inside the pre-sentence report was the victim impact statement. The mother of the young man that was murdered in my case, I read her statement, and it affected, because my father's death, I understood that, and I understood her pain. And at that moment, I understood, you know, the pain, suffering, and harm that we had caused her with our criminal mindset, that we didn't care, and we did a bunch of stuff. And that profoundly changed me. On that day, I made 2 vows. One, that I would do everything in my power to make sure that no more mothers had to cry because their young son was gunned down in the prime of their life. And I wanted to make the other vow was to make sure that no more mothers had to cry because their young sons were sentenced to sentences that exceeded their life expectancy. These 4 incidents basically changed the trajectory of my life, and it helped me start that transformation process. In New York State, to become eligible for clemency, you have to have served at least half of your time. For me, I was eligible after serving 31 in a year in 3 months. I became eligible. But at the particular time, after I became eligible, I wasn't thinking about clemency. I didn't even have clemency in my mind. I didn't believe that I would ever be a candidate for clemency until one of my friends said, "You have nothing to lose, you might as well apply." When I went before the parole board, I gave them a 5-year release plan. This is what I plan to do in the 5 years of my immediate release. And so far, I'm 6 months shy of my 3rd year being home. I met every goal of that plan, except for my savings been getting hit because I bought a car like a fool.
Can y'all hear me?
I currently work for Release Aging People in Prison, RAPP. I began my relationship with RAPP while I was still incarcerated in 2018. When I came home in 2023, they gave me the job as a community leader. And I'm now the New York City community organizer. I'm my own boss now. I came home 3 months shy of my 61st birthday. Had the elder parole, and I'm gonna talk about that a little bit more, was passed, I would have been able to make my case for release before the parole board when I was 55. Elder bill is that this bill is a simple bill. It says that anybody 55 and older and who have been in prison for 15 or more years should be given an opportunity to go before the parole board to make their case for release. Timely parole bill, and it complements the elder bill and any other parole justice reform that comes into play. And this bill says that when an individual comes before the parole board, that they should be judged on the merit of who they are now as opposed to who they were 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. Because we recognize that the crime will never change. The crime of conviction is always going to be the crime of conviction, but what can change and often do change is the individual. And we need to recognize that change. Each and every one of us, at some point in our life, did something that we regret. But that doesn't define who you are. That was just that moment in your life that you made that bad, poor decision. What defined you, that was what you did, but that's not who you are. The status of Elder Bill is that we have majority support in the Senate, state Senate. All you need is 32 state senators to pass any bill. It's 63 state senators in the state. 32 senators that's voting on a bill, pass the bill, is a majority. We have 32 co-sponsors for the elder bill in the state Senate. And we have 32 co-sponsors for the fair and timely parole bill in the state Senate. In the Assembly, you need 76 votes to pass any bill. We have 71 co-sponsors for both bills. These are people that signed their name on the bills. But we have majority support where we have other state legislators who said that if the bills ever come to the floor, they will vote yes on the passage of the bills. So the problem that we're having is that the leadership, Andrea Stewart-Cousins in the Senate, the majority leader, and the Speaker of the Assembly, Carl Hastie, have not put the bills on the floor for up and down vote. Whenever the agenda come up for the bills to be voted on, for whatever reason, the bills is not on the agenda to be voted on. What people can do to support both these bills is, one, call their state legislators and tell them, because we go before the state legislators and we tell them that they need to support these bills, but they have to go back to their constituents and they answer their constituents. They don't answer to us. So it's up to the constituents that believe in reuniting family, that believe in parole justice, to call their state legislators and tell them that we support these bills. You can join RAPP, talk to any community leader that you meet out, come to some of our events when we throw them, and sign up and become a member and get involved in advocating and helping reunite families and bring elders and other people home that's ready